Am I a heavy vehicle? Do I count as a heavy vehicle? I feel like a heavy vehicle. Try not to breathe heavy, Gavin, so they don't know how unfit you are. So guys, a quick tip, after like raining bits and snow, like it's been snowy over this, look at that beautiful view. It's just been raining and snowing heavily for a few weeks. As soon as it gets sunny, start looking for your fire lighting stuff where the sun's hitting and drying out, possible tinder and kindling. Have a look round, always prepare in your mind for the next fire. Always have something ready to start a fire. Put it in your pocket, put it in your bag, put it somewhere. Pick up 2 or 3 large handfuls and be ready to get a fire going at any time. That's a quick tip for you on the bushcraft video from the British bookworm. So hello everybody, I'm Gavin and I'm the British bookworm. So if you are a bushcraft lover, and you've clicked onto this video, then it might be a perfect video for you. Bear in mind this is a book review channel. So the idea of this video, Bushcraft 002, is to improve on 001. So as a massive avid passionate reader and a massive lover of bushcraft, I like reading the books, and I'm going to implement the things that I've learned by just reading, never practicing it, most of it directly, practice bits and pieces over the years, but showing how much you can learn just from reading a book and taking that information and applying it in practice. So that's the purpose of this video. I'm Gavin and I live in Lancashire, where I am now at the moment on this video. It's a Saturday. I'm going to pitch my camp and try to practice some of the skills from a couple of books that are going to be or have been reviewed, and I'm going to show some of those skills hopefully on this bushcraft second video where I get to stay the night and don't get rained out. I have a new tarp. I bought a new tarp this week, so I've got more coverage. It looks like it's not going to rain or lash it down like it did last time. So hopefully you'll stick around and you'll enjoy this video with the British Bookworms Bushcraft 002 practice video. Reading's powerful, but being outside in nature is magnificent. Let's get on with whatever I'm going to do next. So I've gone on to Amazon, as I said in my last video, and I've bought myself a camping chair. The problem is, it was a cheap one, so it's fairly weighty, which I've learnt walking up, which is one of the reasons why I got a taxi up here today, because my bag is ridiculously heavy. But this is going to make my night much more comfortable if and when I get fed up of being in a hammock. I don't know about you guys, but I find at the moment I haven't got used to hammocking. I find the position a bit uncomfortable, so I'm trying to get into it and improve my kind of awareness and knowledge on it. I've watched a ton of YouTubers explaining how to set things up, but even though I've done that for quite a lot of time over the last couple of years, I even set it up wrong last time with the straps, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, I can't believe I made that mistake. That's such a beginner's mistake. I can't believe I set it up like that. So that's going to be an improvement on today, and this is going to make myself extra comfy on these camping trips. Probably will get a better one, probably going to get a better sleeping bag as well. Today I'm expecting it to be minus Celsius at some point during the day. It's been very, very cold, but it's beautiful to be out in the sun with snow melting. It's a beautiful feeling. It's a beautiful atmosphere and I'm absolutely loving it. And I've just started. Now we're going to get the hammock up. when you open your sleeping bag, what they say is you should shake it to get the filling even, so it traps the heat better, especially if it's down because it's packed up tight. So you need to create air pockets between the lining. So that's a really good tip. If you feel like your sleeping bag isn't performing very well, just try shaking it out so you get more air pockets in it before you use it. Again, I've read that in books. Him again. Gotta hand it to some of you bushcraft YouTubers out there. You have to do a lot of messing about with this camera while walking, moving it around and trying to get the right angle. I used to do that for my last profession as a fitness instructor, where I tried to get the decent camera shots. So I do have familiarity to it, but you gotta get the right camera shots, otherwise your video isn't very good. So I'm trying. This has got raving reviews, the DD. I've bought a short one, even though I've seen a few people comment that it's better to have a bigger one. But to me, I've looked at it, I think this is going to be sufficient enough. So I'm going to put this up for the first time. If you notice in my last bushcraft video, it rained in. Now I still think that Tarp was decent. As I admitted in that video, I set it up, not the best. So I nearly brought that again to practice setting it up a bit better. But like everything, a lot of things I'm applying today I've read in books, but also on the hundreds or thousands of videos I watched on YouTube from you bushcrafters out there who do superb videos that are absolutely amazing. And if you're like me, you like all the sounds attached to these videos. I love that side, sewing wood. So I don't know how much of that's going to be on this video today, but this is going to be my first time using this tarp. I'm going to set it up now. Let's go, guys, ladies and gentlemen. So again, when you read this, it doesn't matter how many times you read it, doing it's a totally different thing. I've got my tarp ridge line up and I've used a trucker's hitch, which, if I get back into focus, I used a trucker hitch, and then the excess rope I've just wrapped up in a whipping just to keep it nice and tidy. And then I've got my ridge line knots on here in loops. My camera is not focusing. There we go. So that's how I'm doing it. I'm going to put the tarp on now. Let's do it, guys. So this is a tip I got off the amazing wild bear YouTuber. She's incredible, that lady, and I got that from her. You carry a set of these and they come in handy. I'm going to use them today because even though I'm bushcrafting, it's still sometimes better to make life a bit easier. So what is that focusing? Sorry about this, I'm trying to do it with one arm while I'm going to latch on, can't do it, latch on these using this, the carabiner, thank you to Wild Bear YouTuber, to tighten up my tarp. That's the plan. So these come in handy, something I learnt on YouTube rather than a book, even though this is about what I learned from books. Great tip, thank you Wild Bear. So looking online for some nice pegs to complement this DD tarp, because the pegs that come with the tarps aren't very good. I'm buying some aluminium ones. I'm going to try these today. So it's getting there, we've got a nice little tarp set up going on. You can see I've used some cordage, actually bungees because they're quick and easy to tie it down here, and I feel that's a positive, strong shelter at the minute. So I'm very, very happy with that. So I'm putting a layer on because it is cold, like I was saying. It is a cold day, even though the sun looks nice and warm. So I'm putting another layer on. One of the things that I've read many times in many books is probably the most important bit of kit that you have is your clothing. If you get your kit wrong or your clothing wrong, you're going to be very cold and potentially, you know, have hypothermia. So that is really important to have the right clothes. The clothing is your first line of defense against the environment, both in protecting yourself from mosquito bites to brush scraping your legs. If you're wearing shorts and you go in the woods, there's a good chance you're going to get scratched kneeling down by the fire. So pants are like a must. So you put your layers on, make sure you do thin layers and that your layers are layered, obviously, and that you build up your heat inside. So I've got a t-shirt on and this layer on, which I can tuck this layer on if it's not getting even colder. So that's one of the many things that you can learn in books. However, I've not really done anything. I've done this is in Dan Warwick. This Tarp figuration triangle is in the Bushcraft kid book. So I suppose I have at the moment implemented one of the book's techniques to show you. So that's brilliant. Haha, nice one. So the chair is brilliant, but the only problem with the ground being wet is the thin footrests. So will go into the ground if you sit on it for a long time. So it really does need like some wood to put underneath it, or a solid base. But it's a brilliant bit of kit, so I'm really glad I brought that. So one of the things I love about spruce wood is how, evergreen wood, trees, forests, is how fantastic it is for firelighting and how easy it is. Not a true test of skill because you have to try it in all different environments, but these kind of branches are superb for firelighting. You just get the thinnest pieces in bundles, what Raymond Mears calls, or they used to be called fags before it meant something different, and use these thin pieces of wood to tie them up with a bit of string, like the old witcher broom. Put two together and you've always got a very strong chance of getting a good fire going. And they say, or Raymond Mears says, get them ready before you need your next fire. So if I was moving on, I would make one or two or three of them and then walk to my next campsite with them strapped to my bag. Interesting tips. So going off the Raymond Mears book, or Ray Mears, That is what he would call, or calls in his book, a fag. You basically, I know it's funny, innit? So basically you tie some string around that, you have two of them, ideally in really wet weather, and then you put them together, one on top of the other, on top of your fire layer, on the base of the fire, and then you set off your tinder by match or whatever method you do. But that is a fag. It's taking me 20 minutes to collect that much wood, maybe a bit more. Everything does take a long time when you're doing stuff in the woods, especially when you're learning like me. I'm totally beginner, but that is one of the tips of books that I read from a British bookworm. Build 2 fags, get your fire going, and then when you're settled, build 2 more. So if you're moving or travelling, you've got 2 piles of these wrapped up, put it outside on your outside of your bag, and you've always got quick access to a quick fire when you need it. Right, so going off the Bushcraft kid tutorial, I'm going to show you what I've used using Dan Warwick's expertise. So let me turn this around. I've got myself a base. This is called the backstop, which I will rest the initial tiny pieces the size of matchsticks on there into crisscrossing like this, and then I'm going to slowly put these on at a more finger sized wood, and then going on to more thumb sized or slightly thicker. And it's a bit pedantic and it takes quite a while to get it right, but you know that if you do it right the first time, you'll get a fire going. Now I just need to find some natural, the camera's there, Gavin. Now I need to just find some natural tinder to get this going, but I do have some in my bag as I'm prepared, just in case. I've got loads of methods of starting a fire in case I need to light a fire for an emergency, but I'm going to try and find some natural tinder now to use from the wood, so let's do that. Not quite yet, not quite yet, not quite Canada, is it? Not quite Canada. So I'm just collecting some birch wood off these trees, and it feels like I'm cheating because it is such an amazing fire starter, this birch wood bark. I know I used it last time, it's such an amazing tinder. I'm trying to get it started with my ferrocerium rod today if I start a fire, which I probably should after all my effort I put in collecting wood today. It's getting dark. I've really enjoyed myself today so far. I'm doing it a very casual day again. I want to have a good night's sleep. That's the plan. So losing your kit is the biggest no-no, faux pas, whatever, faux pas, whatever the term is, in the woods. You should tie all that shit on, tie all that stuff down on lanyards so you don't lose anything. It's one of the biggest mistakes is not tying your gear together. Like I'm a bit loose, lax on my arrangement at the minute, which means if I was to rush I would lose kit, and that would potentially be fatal if I was in a real survival situation. So you got to make sure everything is accounted for in your pockets. Everything. Don't lose anything. Everything is extremely precious out here if you really are in the survival situation. And that is in my books. Not me saying it as a nobody, a non-expert. There's my birch. Some more birch I set up to get this fire going in a minute. So making a tripod stand, that's one of the most basic skills you can learn. I've not had enough cordage for this to get round and put another clove hitch on there. I've put a clove hitch on there, wrapped it round 3 times, and then two times both sides on the frapping. But I'm just going to tuck that in because I don't want to waste any more cordage. But that's from one of Dan Warwick as Bushcraft kid books, so I'll put the picture of that in to show you, and I'll show you what it looks like standing up. So that's how I'm going to boil some water in the morning. It's all coming together, isn't it? Bushcraft kids, brilliant, love it. Because it's extra cold at the moment in the UK, I've brought what I bought at home to save on some energy bills, my onesie. So I'm going to wear that in a bit. It's going to be nice and cozy for tonight, really warm. Can't tell you how much I'm enjoying myself today. I am absolutely in bliss. So I'm going to get my hexamin oven on and get a brew on and some noodles. That's my plan. Right, so before we get started, one of the things I'm going to do tonight is what us guys who read all this Bushcraft Survival, SES, Who Dares Wins type stuff, we'll come across the idea of putting a bag around some trees or branches or greenery and procuring some water for the morning. Now I'm only going to try this as kind of like a bit of tongue in jest, what is it, tongue in cheek. Today I'm going to try just use some of these evergreen branches and see how much water I might procure during the night using this bag method. I don't expect it to be that much, to be totally honest, but I'm going to just see it as an experiment because I've been dying to do it for as long as I've been reading about it over and over again in Lofty Wiseman's book and all the SS books. So I'm going to try that tonight. So I'm looking forward to seeing the results of that in the morning. What do you think? Is it going to be good or is it going to be poor? Right, an experiment in action. So I've tied it up, sealed the sides like all the manuals tell you to do, and I'm going to see. I don't expect much water, if next to nothing, by the way, in the morning. I'm just doing this as a very interesting exercise, see what the condensation and the trees, how the tree branches produce water over the night, and especially in the morning, early morning. So that's going to be really interesting to look at. I've been wanting to do this for ages. So there we go, professional setup. I carry those bags for me for multiple purposes, because they're fantastic bags, and this is one of the reasons why I've always carried it. So let's see how we do. I don't think evergreen trees are going to be very good for this, but let's find out in the morning. Cheers, British bushcrafters, bookworms. Cheers, guys. I boiled it a bit too much, so I've not got as much in the cup as I should have, but it's still fantastic. What a wonderful night. Oh my god, that tastes amazing. Cheers, bushcrafters. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching the video up to now. So here we are, take 2 Bushcraft, British Bushcraft 002, and I'm in the same spot with a much better tarp, and I've got my onesie, a fleece, another fleece on, an underquilt, my hammock, my tarp, and a nice sleeping bag. But it is cold, guys. I can really feel how cold it is, so I might have to light a fire. I'm trying to not light a fire. I'm gonna only turn the fire on. I'm only gonna put the fire on when I feel like I have to get the fire on because I'm getting too cold. So I'm hoping that my body heat is gonna sustain me in the sleeping bag, the full body onesie, pair of pants, t-shirt, shirt, fleece jumper, fleece jacket, onesie, and a sleeping bag. So I mean, if that's not going to help, God knows what's going to keep me warm. So it's about minus, but my fingertips are starting, because I've got no gloves on, and my fingertips starting out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to enjoy some nosh, and let me see what I've got. I know you want to know. it comes to food, we're all the same. We've got a radio as well, guys. I've got a radio which I've got for the end of the world. I've got a radio we're going to listen to. So I'm going to have another one of them. While I'm munching away. Then, then I'm going to eat some scratchings. Some pork scratchings. Can you see it? Can you see it? Pork scratchings. And then the main one I'm trying to get to, just like hiding. Look at them, my ration pack. What are they? Look at them. I'm going to be eating them soon, and I'm going to possibly read my Bushcraft books, being the Bushcraft worm. A little radio. I'm going to put that on in a bit. I think is a really good digital little radio. I haven't tried it in the woods yet, so I'm going to try that. So I'm going to do that and then see what happens. If I fall asleep, fantastic. Let's see what happens, my friends. For now, let's go. I'm snug as a bug in a rug. Honestly, I'm so snug right now. It's like well nice. Oh, it's that morning scene that they do on these bushcraft videos where they wake up and pretend they're not being videoing themselves. I'm trying to do it. But I genuinely have just woken up and put the camera on almost straight away, so I'm not faking it. Oh God, I find hammocks rough sleeping, I really do. But bizarrely, I've actually woke up and it's like 8:45, which is crazy because I cannot see or feel where all that time's just gone, because I remember being up about 3 or 4 o'clock. I'm up 3 or 4 times in the night for a wee and stuff, and I just, yeah, it's gone really quick. Oh, wow. Oh, crazy how quickly it's like time's just vanished. Usually I wake up more than that even at home, but I don't feel like I've slept very well. I feel shattered. So time to get up. Time to get up. We get my fags, split them into 2 piles. I'm going to put them on top of each other like that. One like that. One like that. And then I'm going to get my tinder. Got tea for help fire start. Good tinder. Good fire booster. And I'm gonna what am I gonna do? Oh, I think I'm just gonna use a lighter, guys, today. There we go.
So I'm gonna get some different types. I've just used bits of grass and dead fern to try to get it started. So what I'm gonna do is move these bunches of wood. Gonna get some trusty bird, little bit of a bird's nest out. So that might just go on its own. Let's see if I can get that started first with a ferrocerium rod. See what happens with that. See if I can get this going. Nearly. There we go, nearly had it then. Nearly had it then. I'm going to take this out carefully. Oh, I'll tell you what I'm going to use. I'm going to use this, somebody gave me. I'm going to use some fungi. What's it called? King Alfred cake. King's Alfred cake, that's from numerous books. You can find it in millions of books. Let's see if that works. Get a flame on that. Hang on. King's Alfred cake. Look at that little flame. I love this stuff. The King's Alfred cake. I'm going to put that in the fire. Look how it's going.
It's not as easy as it looks. I have to get the rest of my birch out. It's just not working. That grass is too damp. There we go. We have it. We have it. Ah. We have flames. Normally I do better than this when I'm not doing it. I'm going to use some birch now. But I swear to you I do better than that normally. How annoying on camera, I don't do very well. So I've had to use some birch that I was saving for an emergency because that fern wasn't working, the dead fern wasn't working, but I've got a fire started. Highly recommend these large ferrocerium rods, or put them on if they make up, I forget the name now, but they begins with B. They're superb. Let's go and see how my water bag did. I don't expect to see any water in it, to be honest, really, but I'm just trying it. Alright, you can see that that's probably just not very good. There's nothing in there, so that didn't work. So take that from a dead evergreen tree, or a dying evergreen tree as it is. Didn't work at all, so I would have had no water from that source. So one of the things that all the books teach is to have a tin of char, which is basically some punk wood or material, cotton material, that you burn until it goes black, and then it can ignite to a tiny spark on a ferrocerium rod. So that's how I lit the fire last time in the pissing rain, and it was saturated. I put some of that on birch, my head's not working, on birch bark, and basically it took off after a few blows. So that's what she said. So yeah, that's it, that's the secret. So I'm going to do that today on a smaller tin to practice. The one day that I don't bring my first aid kit, I use a new Spyderco knife and it folds in and cuts my finger. So I'm a little bit miffed because I don't have my first aid kit, which is unusual for me, and it's the first time it's happened without, well, it's not, let's tell a lie, but it's very effing freaking annoying, isn't it? So that's my put kibosh to the day, because it's a little bit deep. A bit of a review, guys. I bought this Spyderco and I've used it to just get some punk wood out of wood, and it is shit. They're an amazing manufacturer of knives, but this is England UK safe, and it's just snapped on my finger twice, and I've never used a blade without a lock before, so it's not something I'm very used to. So it slipped and cut my finger, 2 fingers twice. So this is definitely getting a low score. You can still see a bit of blood there, guys. So I'm not going to be using this again. This is coming off my key ring because I won't be using it again like that. So I've put the char tin in with some punk wood, which is just rotten pieces of wood, and I'm going to leave it in there for another 5 minutes and then pull it out, and hopefully I'll have my next fire set up, theoretically, on paper. Right guys, so I've done my char and I'm going to call it a day, because the char's done nicely, but you can see that the punk wood shrinks in the tin, so you need to put a lot in, cram a lot in when you're doing punk wood char, but it's a little bit. So I'm going to go now because I have cut my fingers. I've taken the plasters out that I had in my 2-ounce tobacco tin, and the lesson for you there is the plasters in a real situation where you've cut your fingers and you're on your own and you're not implementing them in a bathroom or a clinical setting, they don't work very well. And this has happened to me on numerous occasions. So those of you with survival tins and you've got plasters in them, personally I'd take them out, because I've just used 4 lots that's in my 2-ounce tobacco tin, and this is the 3rd time I've had to do this over the time I've had the tin, and it's just not worth it. They don't do. I'm using these wipes, and I'm always going to now bring tape every time I go camping. I'm going to buy gaffer tape, not gaffer tape, gorilla tape. I'm always going to have some on my rucksack, as David Canterbury teaches. So I'm going to pack up now and set off home. Definitely Canada. Definitely Canada. Hey Joe, is it Canada yet? Right guys, I'm finishing my trip. It's 12 o'clock and unfortunately it's been another bit of a bummer, because that Spyderco has cut my 2 fingers that bad. I am literally bleeding everywhere and I cannot stop them bleeding, even though I've tried everything. Put a glove on and it's just sopping through, and I've got blood everywhere. I've got blood on my selfie stick, blood on everything, which has really peeved me off. It's really peeved me off because I was having a really nice trip. I was going to do some bushcraft, more bushcraft stuff from the book, Dan Warwick Bushcraft Kid book, and a few more things, and it's really pissed me off because I was having a lovely time and I wasn't being careless with that Spyderco. It just clipped in a weird way and bang, 2 times. I thought, right, let's not do that again. So The takeaways: I'm never going to cut my fingers again, because the number of times I've done this and it just bleeds for ages and it bleeds all over your kit and it's just absolutely miserable. So I am never ever 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 cutting my fingers again. I'm just stating it. And I'm going to always bring some strong leather gloves, because I've literally fucking bled on everything. And it's really spoiled what was like a really cool trip up until that point. So that's my takeaway really. I don't know how this video, again, Bushcraft 002, British Bookworm, the take's going to come together. I'm just playing around with this. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. If you don't, you don't. But I've really enjoyed myself. I've learnt loads as usual. You learn everything on every trip. You learn so many things. And it's just so nice being out in the natural environment. One thing I will say though is that the skills it takes to be good at this is massive. It's people, including myself, even though I'm well read on it, have no idea on the depth and level of technical skill to do bushcraft properly. From tying knots, setting hammocks to the right height, setting tarps, starting fires. It's a very, very profound skill which some of these bushcrafters make very easy. And it isn't easy if you do it right, especially when you're trying a YouTube video as well, because you're trying to think about your angles, you've got to carry your camera kit, you've got to mess about with setting up cameras, checking out whether it's the right shot. So I don't know how they do it, to be honest with you. You guys out there who do bushcraft videos, I really have my respect for you for doing some of the quality videos that are out there. So in all, I've really enjoyed myself, but bleeding on everything has been very unfun, and it's really spoilt the trip, to be quite honest with you. And so the spider core that I've used, which is the third level up from these, like the mini bug one, spider bug I think it is, which I've got, I think I've got that one, or the bug one. I think it's the third level one up, and I'm never going to use that again, I don't think. It's just cut a massive inch wound in both fingers, and it's just profusely bleeding everywhere, which is really unpleasant. And it shows you plasters in a survival tin is a load of nonsense. So if you see that in any book, just ignore it, because by the time you get it out, you usually put them on the bottom of the survival tin. When you get them out, you're bleeding all over the place. You're trying to wash your finger as well and dry it, and by that point you've bled everywhere. So it's just, and then you can't get the plasters to stick, or the plasters have lost the stickiness in the tin if you've not been updating them regularly. So that's a bit of a con. So that's something I've taken away. The water procurement method didn't work on the evergreen tree. It might not have been the best kind of conditions to do it in, but I've never tried it before, so that was fun, but it didn't work. And I am going to go home now much earlier than I wanted to on the Sunday, and just basically enjoy the rest of my day before I go back to work this week. So hopefully you enjoyed this window. If you've liked it, I don't know how it's going to come together as an edit. Like my video, please. You can edit it if you want. Subscribe to this channel, and this has basically been my attempt to show techniques from bushcraft books that I love and love learning about. Thank you for watching, and I will see you possibly on Bushcraft 3 with less blood. It was a bleedy one today, and there was no Sasquatch about.